Yeah, we should be able to hear that. Okay, we are now streaming this live, and let me move this over here.
What mic number is she?
She is number 4. So this is that you don't do that because that's just for the headphones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this will be for that.
Okay.
Okay, and if you guys are ready, we're going to give this a
Ready
go.
as we'll ever be.
Okay, and the first segment again is 7:40. All right, and Mark and Nam, your email question is: why are deeds of trust rates so much lower in California compared to other states? Okay,
Private.
there you go. That's the answer.
Private deed of trust.
Okay, then
Okay.
yeah, you can answer that. Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
That might make more sense in the question.
All right, and away we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Mark Hanf and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. The certificate is not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon, with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Check them out. Today's trivia theme is general trivia. Now, on the phone today, we have Jackie Datnow from Wine and Design. Jackie, welcome to The Best of Investing.
Thank you, Edward.
You're welcome. So first, tell us, what is Wine and Design?
Wine and Design is a painting studio. We're part of the paint and sip industry, which started about, I don't know, like 12 or 13 years ago after Hurricane Katrina. A couple kindergarten moms invited neighbors over to paint in their garage when everyone was going through such a hard time, to drink some wine and paint. And everyone just enjoyed it so much and found it so relaxing that eventually they ended up opening a business, which turned into Painting with a Twist. And that's the largest paint and sip business company in the country, and the second largest one is Wine and Design.
And I remember doing something about, gosh, this is going back 15 years, where a company had, like, you go to some kind of a studio and they basically show you a picture of saying, this is what we're going to paint. And they would, teach you, okay, take the white and then use your brush and do this. And so everyone's picture was a little different, but basically, the same waterfall or whatever. Is it kind of like that?
It's exactly that. We sketch the pictures. Everyone comes to the class. Everyone's painting the same picture, but of course everyone paints their own version of the picture, and there's a instructor that stands in the front of the room and guides everyone through it step by step.
And unfortunately, the one I did we didn't get wine to drink, so it wasn't as fun.
Wine helps. Wine really helps.
Yeah.
Jackie, so this started, you said, after Katrina, and it was in New Orleans, is that right?
Yes.
So how did you get involved, being all the way out here in Northern California?
Well, I am in San Rafael, and I wanted to bring a business to my own community, and I saw it on Shark Tank. And so I went and interviewed in their corporate offices in North Carolina, and I found out about it, and I was choosing between this company and another one, and I really liked the paintings in this picture, and I liked the fact that it's all women-owned. And so I bought a franchise in Wine and Design.
And how much did they charge you for the franchise?
Well, if you paid cash, it was $22,000, and if you didn't pay cash, it was $25,000, and I paid cash.
That's not that expensive for a franchise.
Yeah, supposedly it's a good price. That was one of the reasons that Kevin O'Leary bought into it, is he thought this is a really fantastic business that doesn't cost too much to get into.
And it's Mr. Wonderful for all you
Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful,
that's okay. That's awesome. So where's your studio?
Where is my studio?
Mm-hmm.
My studio is on 4th Street in San Rafael, 804 4th Street.
Okay.
Right next to Double Rainbow Ice Cream.
Oh, you know what? Okay, so I've seen it. I've walked by there. That's awesome. Okay.
Can you bring ice cream in to paint instead of wine?
You can bring in snacks. There's no bringing in wine.
Okay.
No wine. We sell wine and beer and non-alcoholic beverages, but guests are welcome to bring in snacks at no charge and just enjoy themselves, relax with friends and family, have snacks and a glass of wine, beer, or non-alcoholic beverage.
And how much does it cost if I want to go in and do Wine and Design?
So for adults, it's $39. For children, it's $29 because we offer children's classes. And on family days, we bring the price down for adults down to $25 a person.
And is it, how long does the experience last?
2 to 3 hours, depending on how detailed of a painter you are
yeah.
and the complexity of the picture.
That's very reasonably priced.
That's
I like
when you
that.
answered the question I was going to
Okay.
ask, which is, can kids be part of it? It sounds like it does if you have a kids program. Is that
Yeah, how do you promote to kids
Yeah.
if it's with the name Wine and Design?
Well,
grapefruit, grape juice and design? Doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
sorry.
I
what-
know the name wine with the name with the word wine in it is a bit confusing. It's not really the place that the Girl Scouts might want to take their kids.
Yeah.
But we have 5 divisions, and one of them is corporate team building, and one of them is children. One of them is Paying It Forward for fundraising.
Mhm.
And anyway, for the children, we offer birthday parties. We have summer camps coming up all summer long if businesses are allowed to open. And even though we have the name wine in our name, we still have a very big program for kids. Birthday parties are really big on the weekends. We probably have 4 or 5 children's birthday parties every weekend.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
is your business closed today, Jackie?
It is closed. It will be closed until businesses are allowed to reopen. With the social distancing, that's just not possible.
Are you doing anything to? Do you have the ability to have any kind of customer base while this is going on?
I'm really excited because what we're doing is we put together a program that people can come and pick up painting kits and take them home, which we will have adult ones, we will have children's themes. I have a class that's called 10 Famous Painters, where each day there will be a painting that they'll learn. I'm going to be teaching it on Facebook Live.
Oh, that's cool.
I was going to say, because
Yeah,
without the
that's great.
instructor, how does someone know unless it's paint by numbers,
Yeah.
So basically, I could do the take-home kit and do like a webinar. And
Right.
wow, that's a great idea.
They're going to come pick up the canvases. So they can pay on the website, then they can come pick up the painting kit. I'll have all the pictures pre-sketched, the paint, the brushes, and sample paintings in the kit. But then they can also watch or a different instructor each day on Facebook Live.
You'll be a genius if you can figure out how to get the wine via that webinar. Is that a possibility?
No, it's not even like a scratch and sniff chemistry.
All right. Hey, Jackie,
great.
stay with us. We have to cut to a quick commercial break here. All right. First trivia question, which is just general. And by the way, Jackie, if you know the answer, don't shout it out yet. We'll let you answer it when you come back. First trivia question, general trivia question is, what do the Sphinx, Venus de Milo, and the Liberty Bell have in common? It's a little bit of a subjective type of question, but we'll give credit for people if they can answer this. All right, call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer is going to win the tanning certificate. Again, here we go. What do the Sphinx, Venus de Milo, and the Liberty Bell have in common? And when we come back, we're going to continue on for a little bit with Jackie Datnow of Wine and Design. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Okay, so that was our first segment. What we'll do is we'll just keep you on for a little bit longer and give you a chance to tell everyone how they can get a hold of you.
Okay.
So I'm going to save this file.
Any questions we haven't asked you yet you want to answer, Jackie?
Let me think.
I really like the idea of what you're doing with the,
Streaming?
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a really good idea.
Oh, well. I touched on all the topics. I can go
Yeah.
into greater detail, but those are all the topics.
We'll definitely ask you what your Facebook page is. I don't know if Wine and Design is already taken by your corporate, so if you have like a more local Facebook
Well,
page.
I'd be curious about like the franchise, like, how much do you have to pay them, from the business aspect?
Okay.
if you can give that information out.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's gotta be
franchise
territory.
investments are a popular way of getting into business. I mean, I subscribe to, among others, Entrepreneur Inc. magazine, and oftentimes they devote, anywhere from a third to a half of the magazine to, to franchise opportunities.
This is software here.
He's really
nice.
proud of that, huh?
Well,
You learned a new program this decade.
Did. This decade. Thanks a lot. No, you're right. No, it's
Edward's graduating from AOL to Yahoo. Email.
Hey, I just got rid of my my 286 computer. I graduated. Actually, it's so funny. I had a 286 many years ago. I didn't even go to the 386. I had my 286 for so long. I waited till the 486 to come out. Okay. The thing I like, so you don't have to even use this thing anymore because like this is accurate with the time.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Ready? And away we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Humph and Nam Phan. First trivia question was, what do the Sphinx, Venus de Milo, and the Liberty Bell have in common? And again, this is very subjective.
They have cracks.
Okay.
That wasn't the answer, though, huh?
Well, what's close? I mean, effectively, this is the answer I was looking for. But again, I'll give credit for that. They actually became more famous once they were damaged.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
If you think about all that, Venus de Milo, when she had arms, nobody cared. When she lost her arms, that's when she became famous. The Sphinx, what happened to the Sphinx? Anyone know?
Nose came off, right?
Yeah, I think
Lost
you know how it came off?
No.
The shot.
Archers. They just
The
kept.
archers?
That was the
Oh,
they kept
okay.
practicing shooting at the nose, and then Liberty Bell we all know is cracked. All right, and we are in the studio here with Jackie Datnow, who owns the franchise, franchise location called Wine and Design. And Jackie, I wanted to ask you how the franchise works. You paid like $22,000 for the franchise, and then how much do you have to pay on an ongoing basis?
Well, 4% we pay each month towards marketing and sales and running the corporate offices. But then there are a lot of other expenses too for accounting, and I feel like it adds up to about about 8 to 10%.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of reasonable. Isn't that kind of in the range of what normal franchise? I mean, that's you pay that out of the gross amount, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you get a lot of support from your back office?
Well, there is a lot of support, but the market is very different here in California, and then more specifically Marin County, than you can imagine in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things. I would say most things I just had to figure out myself. But fortunately, there are several other wine and designs in California now,
Okay.
in Northern California, and so we all support each other and share our ideas with each other.
Yeah, because someone, let's say, Sacramento. I mean, you're not in competition with them.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is one in Jack London Square. There's one in Los Altos. There's one in Pleasanton. So we're far enough away that we're not in competition at all. We can just help each other.
And do you have a specific geographic area that you own?
I think it's like a 5-mile radius that.
Oh, that's all. Huh.
Yeah. That
Hmm.
another studio can't come in.
Okay.
But with real estate being so expensive here,
Yeah.
very little competition. There's no competition, which is why there are so many studios throughout the country and throughout California, but probably not here in France. I was the first one to bring it here, and I'm assuming that's because of the real estate prices.
Right. Now, I forgot. I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but do you sell the wine there, or people bring their own wine in?
Yeah, they're not allowed to bring.
So
Okay.
we sell wine.
Yeah.
A lot of the studios are BYOB in the country, but here I have a liquor license.
Oh,
sell
That's
wine.
great. Okay.
And so we sell wine, beer, non-alcoholic beverages. And if people do want to bring in their own wine, because we have a lot of wine collectors around here, then we have a $15 corkage fee.
Okay.
that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Seems like in the Bay Area, you'd have a lot of appeal because it's such a wine knowledgeable.
but also
base.
it's different than just your typical birthday party. For a group type of thing, or even companies wanting to do something for their employees, something like that.
Yeah, we do a lot of corporate team building events and birthday parties. People are just happy to have something different to do other than to go out and eat.
Yeah.
Just hang out at a bar. I mean, they could still eat, they could still drink, but how often do you get to sit and paint with someone and just relax and be creative?
No.
So people are really happy to have something different to do, and there are a lot of creative people in Marin. A lot of artists.
Yeah.
A lot of creative people. So.
I like that. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for joining us. And again, how do people get a hold of you if they want to, book an individual session or a birthday party?
Absolutely. So we have a website, Wine and Design with the word and, wineanddesign.com. And from that, people can email us, or they can email us at www.wineanddesign.com, or they can call the studio at 415-870-9549. And they can also go to the Facebook page, WND San Rafael, and they can get lots of information there about the upcoming classes and painting kits that people can come pick up.
Well, it's a great idea. I'm so glad that you're able to still do some work during this virus situation. I think that was a really smart idea to be able to have people pick up the kits.
Maybe we'll do a group activity.
There you go.
Our office.
Sounds good. I mean, it's fun. Okay, Jackie, thank you again so much for being our guest on The Best of Investing.
Well, thank you, Edward.
All right.
Thanks, Jackie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was kind of neat. I like that.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting. Let's see. Before we have to cut to break in another 2 minutes here, tell us what's going on in real estate.
So, this is the first week, really, of what's happening with the shutdown and shelter in place. And, it's just, there's a lot of turmoil. And we spent, Nam and I spent the better part of this week on the phone and answering emails. Investors are calling. Some of our associates that we work with are calling. Managers of other similar alternative finance companies are calling. Everyone's, wants to compare notes because it really in the banking and financing and mortgage lending world this week, it runs the gamut from lenders that have completely shut the door, just stopped, just said, hey, we are no longer taking any new loan applications. Companies that buy loans from originators like us, many of them have said we are no longer buying loans for the time being. I heard of a company that basically had, in the middle of last week, were going to wire out tens of millions of dollars for loan purchases and then stopped. So can you imagine if you're in the business of originating loans and you need to sell those loans so that you could free up that money to continue to lend? And that's the business model for a lot of lenders is, they use their limited capital to fund loans, they sell them, they fund again, they sell them, fund and sell is their model. And then all of a sudden they're out of business. So because now they're holding a bunch of loans they just funded, they can't sell, they got to sit on them for a while. So it's really, and then Wells Fargo announced they weren't taking any more applications for refinances.
And then I heard today that a lender that starts with a Q has jacked their interest rates up.
Well, that's true too. So loan to value ratios have gone down, pricing has gone up. The banks, when it comes to debt to income ratios, those are going down, meaning it's harder to qualify. So all of a sudden, I talked to one person who said the entire lending scenario has just skipped back 3 years. So in the last 3 years, what's happened in real estate financing across the board, whether it's private financing, private money financing, also known as hard money, the non-QM space, which is basically the near prime type of financing, as well as conventional financing, all across the board, the last 3 years, it's gotten easier to get loans and pricing has gone down. Well, that's just overnight was reversed.
Wow. Okay, and with that, I have to cut to another commercial break.
All right.
Second trivia question. What animals were used in British coal mines until being phased out in 1986? You guys should know the answer to this. Call 888-912-1190. The first caller with the correct answer is going to win that tanning certificate. Stay with us. The Best of Investing will be right back. Yeah,
there's a police song that
Canary in the Coal. Is that right? I don't know that one. So, but AO is still buying, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As of today.
Yeah.
And they want to line up. Saluda wants to line up these trades as quickly as possible too.
Yeah.
Strike the iron while it's still glowing.
So what's still glowing?
Strike the iron while it's
strike
still
that.
glowing.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. March 2020. I mean, I can just...
The police.
Oh, I didn't...
I never heard that song.
I
can just imagine, though. I mean, this... It was
when I first heard of that was Canary in a Coma.
Like poor canaries in a coma.
It's interesting how... no one says that, but that's okay. in 1994, when the S&L crisis happened, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. In 2009, 10, right, the banks were still pulling back. It was good.
Yeah.
What was hard was 2005, 6, when banks were just giving money out like water.
Yeah.
Because private lenders,
right.
It was hard to do. It's interesting because, the 2009, 10, 11, our business grew because the banks were, and then they started to loosen up a little bit, and now this thing happens. So like you said, going back 3 years, if you do smart underwriting, and again, pulling back the LTVs and all that, it could be like shooting fish in a barrel again.
Yeah, well, it should be. So we'll just keep talking about that, how the lending landscape is changing rapidly. And
as long as people can work.
Permanent changes,
unemployment, stuff like that. All right. You ready? Okay.
This is the 818, right?
This is the 818, yeah. Okay. I'll take a quick mention here too. All right, ready, go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hoff and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. Second trivia question: what animals were used in British coal mines until being phased out in 1986? Mark, you know the answer to this.
Well, it's a bird, not an animal, right? Canary?
Yeah, that's still an animal.
It is? A bird's? I thought a bird's a bird. Whatever.
Oh, as opposed to a plant or a human.
I guess it's mammal. That's where my confusion is.
Yeah, but you still got it right, though. Hey, a quick mention here for 101 Surf Sports, located on the water at 115 3rd Street in San Rafael. They were honored as being the nation's #1 stand-up paddleboard shop by the Action Water Sports Industry. Check them out at 101surfsports.com.
No way, #1 in the country. Huh?
Yeah.
Right in San Rafael. That's awesome.
That's great. Okay, so now we're talking about what is going on in the lending market with this coronavirus, banks pulling back, people not being able to do anything.
So mortgage lending, the landscape of mortgage lending is changing rapidly, and it's changing daily. And so you've got 3 types of mortgage loan options when you're borrowing against real estate or you're buying real estate. One is to go to the banks, which is known as conventional or bank financing. And then if you're self-employed, a lot of people don't qualify for bank financing, so they go the non-QM route, which stands for non-qualified mortgage. A friendlier term for that is near prime mortgage. It's 50% of those loans go to self-employed. Then there's your private or hard money, what's interesting is that even in the private money, hard money realm, our investors, many of them are getting a little bit of a deer in the headlights look and saying, until further notice, we're going to kind of sit on the sidelines and see how this fleshes out. Now, not all of our private lenders are saying that, but many of them are. And as we said in the last segment, many banks are no longer taking applications. It's hard to get properties appraised right now because the appraisal services are not going to go out, they're not going out and appraising homes that are sheltering in place, that have sheltering in place rules, counties that have sheltering in place rules, and the number of counties continues to grow every day in California that are enacting the shelter in place rules. And then in the non-QM space, the near prime, a lot of those buyers of those mortgages have also stopped, basically said until further notice we're no longer buying product. So non-QM loan originators are having a tough time finding investors, finding buyers. So it's really, it's just made it more challenging. And across the board, even in the private/hard money sector, we're seeing our investors want higher yields. So we're not necessarily looking at it as an opportunity to go, well, now we can charge more. But effectively, we are starting to charge more because it's harder to find investors, and those ones that are saying yes, they want to take advantage of. We're not the greedy ones, I promise. It's those multi-billionaire investors who just want more. Who's that? What's the character on? Is it the
Montgomery
Simpsons?
Burns?
Yeah, Montgomery Burns.
You sound like that sometimes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes,
What do you mean I sound like that sometimes?
So anyway, it's that notwithstanding, I will say that last week we did have a few borrowers call us who had all of a sudden their loan application had gotten denied, and they were coming us with rates and LTVs that normally are on the aggressive side, and even in a normal market, we would kind of look at and go, gosh, that pricing is pretty aggressive there, Mr. Borrower. But now it's no, that's really not going to work for us right now. And I'm really talking more like not huge jumps. We had a borrower called us with a fix and flip loan who said that at like 8% in one point, I was getting in through this other lender, and now his financing is stalling right now, and I'm wondering if you could match that. We basically said no. We said we'll do it for 9 and 2, and that pricing even may go up. It may be 9.5 or 10 and 2 or 2.5. Again, only because everyone's got to stay in business, and we need to find. It's harder to find investors now for those loans. So, but the good news is at Pacific Private Money, our doors are still open.
I was just going to ask you that.
The one program that actually hasn't really been impacted for us yet is our owner-occupied purchase money, our transitional bridge loan product, where we can help people close on a purchase transaction, especially if they don't want to sell their existing home first. So right now, our buyer for those loans is still in business, and we just sold a tranche of loans last week, and we have another one this coming week that we're looking to put together.
Yeah, tell the audience why you can stay open, because you have a business. We're with this whole coronavirus and
you mean shelter in place.
Well, the list
Sorry.
of businesses that are considered essential includes banks and other financial institutions. That's the exact wording that the County of Marin had in their release, banks and other financial institutions. So we are a lender, a mortgage lender, and we're also a mortgage loan servicer. So we get daily loan payments via mail, via ACH, and via overnight UPS, and we have all our equipment. There's certain things you can't easily do from home. We're just not set up to do that, to have key employees do that from home. So we've got about 50% of our staff at the office. The ones that can work from home are working from home, but the rest of us have been going into the office daily and keeping the wheels of commerce going to keep liquidity options available for certain clientele. And we will continue to do so until they drag our butts out and throw us in jail, I guess. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, you qualify for it, and you're doing a service to the public, really, and in both the borrower side and the investor side.
Absolutely.
And my biggest advice for anybody is don't read too much news. And don't get your news from Facebook. Oh my God.
Facebook.
The stuff that people are putting out there, I think they're just having fun with it.
Let's
see how many people get scared.
Yeah, I like to get my news from the box boy at Safeway.
Box boy, there you go.
He's got a little bit more information. All right.
So for more information, do give us a jingle. Our website's pacificprivatemoney.com, pacificprivatemoney.com. Our phone number is 415-883-2150. And also, we have a mortgage pool fund, and I'm just going to real quick, because I know we got to go to a commercial break. We'll get into that later, but a number of our mortgage fund investors have been increasing their accounts of late because we've been telling them, hey, we've got a pretty thick pipeline of loans we got to fund, and if you have more money you want to add because you pulled it out of the stock market or elsewhere, we can put it to work for you and earn you 7.5% or more. We'll talk more about that when we get back.
All right. We're going to get to our third commercial break, and when we come back also, we want to get to email time. Where did Davy Crockett die? Basically, what famous battle? Right. That's kind of what we're looking for. Call 888-912-1190. Be the first caller with the correct answer. You're going to win that tanning certificate, which is worth over $100. Where did Davy Crockett die? All right. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to the Best of Investing. When we come back, we're going to show you how you can earn over 7.5% fairly well secured. Don't touch that dial. I forgot what I am. So
you must think you're going to laugh for the.
Well, because when you said about Montgomery Burns, does he qualify as a financial institution? Getting all of his money? I thought, I'm not going to do that on the air. All right, file save as.
I'm going to open up a competitor to Wine and Design called Beer and Smear. It's to the bunch of drunk guys in there painting.
That's right.
One quick thing I want to do here. I want to get this downloads.
This isn't a specific deal of the week. Well, it is a deal that came across our desk.
Okay.
That we haven't greenlighted. It's still talking to the broker, but it's where the guy had bank financing in place, but then he was going to liquidate stock to purchase.
Gotcha.
For the down payment for additional down, and the stock dropped.
Tanked.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, burst.
Down
Oh,
30%.
Oh, 50. Yeah, I know. 30%.
He lost like 40% on his portfolio.
40. Oof.
So
It's like a belt line.
and a left. 2 hits.
The entire Trump bump became a hump.
Yeah, it's now down to below when he first took over. The thing is, it's not like he
I know it's
caused
stupid.
it.
When people say that, it's just
Are they blaming him?
The media. Of
No.
course.
Well,
Everything's his fault.
Well, remember, it used to be Bush's fault, so now Bush gets to go, okay, that's it. It's now
Yeah.
Trump's fault for everything.
That's right.
All right. It's taking me a while to get used to this thing. And I want to make sure this is work. Okay, so yeah, this is getting your from there. So that's okay. But at least it's I can see the microphone working.
Good.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown. Mark Hahn and Nam Phan join me. All right, third trivia question. Where did Davy Crockett die?
Well, it's a little known fact. It was called the Battle of the Beavers. They were upset because they had killed so many of them for their skins.
That's right.
That's where you get the Crockett hat. That is incorrect. I'm
Is it?
sorry.
Wasn't the Alamo?
It was the Alamo. Yeah, that's where he passed on. And
They were fighting the beavers.
yeah, that's right.
They stormed the Alamo.
and who was the famous guy who came in afterward and basically crushed the Mexicanos in Santa Ana? Sam Houston, where we get Houston, Texas. That's a little tidbit there. Try to.
You know so much.
I know so much. I'm so smart. Okay, let's see here. Let's get into email time, and then we'll get into how the fund is producing.
Yep.
All right. Why are deeds of trust, I assume he means private individual deeds of trust, why are the rates so much lower in California compared to other states?
So that's a question from an investor who has participated in what we call on the show mortgage investing. And there's a couple of ways you can invest in real estate mortgages. One is through a mortgage pool fund, which we have at Pacific Private Money. Another way is through individual mortgages, also known as deeds of trust. In fact, in California, mortgages are called deeds of trust. It's a practice also called trust deed investing, which again is just a fancy way of saying, I invest in real estate secured deeds of trust or mortgages in California. So interestingly enough, in California, because of, I think because of competition more than anything else, and because of the higher prices and real estate stability in California, at least perceived real estate stability in California, private money rates are much lower in California than other states. So, for example, a typical hard money loan in California might be 9%. That very same loan in Arizona or Texas might be 11 or even 12. So since an investor in a note typically gets the note rate minus some yield spread for servicing, which on average is maybe 1%. So let's say a 12% note in Texas would pay the investor 11%. A 9% note in California would pay the investor on average 8%. And it's really a factor of competition and supply and demand. The supply being money and the demand being all the borrowers out there who are looking for loans. So supply and demand forces in California in the private money sector have driven rates down. When I first got into private money lending in 2007, 12% note rates were not unusual, and those have dropped over the last 10 years. And now you can get hard money loans at 8% if you're what we call like an A paper flipper. So that's really, it's really as simple as that. And I'll tell you, I have investors that have been investing in Pacific Private Money for 10 years. And many of them pine for the days when they used to get 10% on their money.
Yeah.
They just really don't like it that they only make 8%. Now, on the flip side, I mean, inflation has been super low, and those same investors often own real estate as well, and they've seen those prices appreciate. So I don't feel sorry for them.
Well, here's the other thing too. If they own the property where they have a mortgage, they probably mortgaged at a much lower rate. So
That's true.
So net, they're still doing very well.
That's true. Many of our
Stop
investors
complaining.
borrow money from banks at 5% and then loan it out at maybe an 8% yield to them, net to them. And so that's nice. It's nice to make 3% on money you don't own, which is what they're doing. They're arbitraging their ability to access lines of credit from banks. So that's the answer. It's really supply and demand. That was the short answer to the question as to why Visa Trust pay less in California.
It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next several months with potentially certain people not being able to get loans and having to come to private money. Maybe private money rates will
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I fully expect some of our trusted investors to tell us we want 10% again. That's that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you really can't make the market, so it's going to depend again on supply and demand.
Well,
if supply goes down and demand remains where it's been for the last several years, which it wouldn't surprise me if it does. I think demand for capital is always relatively steady in California. If supply goes down, then yes, the pricing will go up. I mean, that's just the economics 101.
I wonder if that'll be much different in other states. Will it both states, let's say, go up about the same? I don't know. So Mark, before we get to another break, give us an update on the fund.
So the Pacific Private Money Fund is up to $55 million right now, and we have been paying pretty consistently at a distributed rate of just under 8%. I think we ended the year last year somewhere around 7.8 distributed to our investors on a monthly basis. And if you invest in a fund, most funds like ours allow you to be a growth investor and just let your earnings buy additional shares if you don't need the monthly income. And so our growth investors got almost exactly 8% return on their invested funds year over year for calendar year 2019. And we're still pretty consistent there. We don't, especially with what's happening now, we do not predict a drop in that distributed yield. We do believe we're going to continue to perform in the high 7% range, possibly 8%, again, depending on how rates go in the near term. To invest in the Pacific Private Money Fund, it is what they call a 506 Reg D fund, and that requires qualification. You need to be an accredited investor in order to invest in the fund. It's a $50,000 minimum amount to open an account with us, and it's a one-year lockup. And the one-year lockup is that is a federal regulation for funds like these. But after 1 year, you can take the money out. You can, in fact, at any time you can add more money, and that's really the convenience of a mortgage pool fund versus an individual deed of trust is that you can open with various amounts. You can add money when you want. You can generally take money out after the lockup period when you want, and you don't have to. You can be a growth investor and allow your money to accumulate. And you don't have to take payoffs, which you have to do on individual deeds of trust. Now, of course, people who are individual investors will say, but they like the control of being able to say, I'm going to invest my money in that piece of property with that borrower, and that's very true. It's just that anyone who has been investing in notes over the years will tell you that it's gotten much, much more competitive to find quality individual notes nowadays, and the reason for that is originators like us, like Pacific Private Money, can sell loans to institutional buyers now. That is relatively new. That didn't exist a few years ago. The institutional note buyers have come into California in a big way the last couple of years, and they make it very compelling to sell our notes to them rather than to individuals. So again, a mortgage pool fund might be a better alternative for most people who are looking for ways to redistribute their portfolio, maybe out of equities and into more, I won't say fixed income, but certainly very reliable mortgage-based income investment opportunities.
Well, it's very similar to a mutual fund. It's not a mutual fund, by the Investment Act of 1940 because it's a Reg D fund, but it's very similar in that invest your money in a fund, like a mutual fund. They go out and buy stocks and bonds. Your fund, you originate mortgages. But the benefit I like is the fact that the principal stays the same, unlike, unfortunately, what's going on in the stock market.
Yes.
Which we don't want to bash the stock market, but boy, it has taken an absolute
Ouch.
dumper
Yes,
recently.
big time.
All right, stay with us. When we come back, Nam is going to share with us a deal of the week. Stay tuned. Okay.
We'll talk about, we'll be announcing a
The webinar, yeah.
fund event.
Oh,
Guess
so,
what? We cancel our live event, although you can't show up if you want.
Yeah.
Hotel will probably kick you out.
Locked up.
Ah. How many people are going to show up for the webinar?
Well, we haven't
Show up
promoted
in
it
your
yet.
panties.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for the people who
Well, we want to have a
cancel.
push it out because we don't have to not have it on the 26th. We're just letting people know, hey, we're gonna have a webinar because we want Chip to promote it, so we want to have extra time.
But
to
people were people who were still planning on going before it got canceled,
Right.
they had their time set up for that.
6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that, but I mean, we could also. I'd rather just have one where we promote it on the radio show, and have more people show up from wherever. So we could do one, but
Yeah,
just for
'cause-
those people. But
What? How many people were there though? There was a fair amount.
there are 20 people, so
So I mean, wouldn't you want to
do it at 6 o'clock? I mean, we could just say, hey, we're going to hold, maybe, but I'd rather have 50 people on another day.
say we
And
do
so-
both?
Maybe.
15, 20, and then 50. You tell me, and I will show up, sir.
You can call it from your house.
Well, but if it's a webinar, I mean, there'll be.
Slide decks.
Oh yeah, it's just gonna be slide decks.
Yeah, unless, although Chip was talking about doing a live
Yeah.
stream, which we could do as well.
I mean, because effectively, you watch us do the thing up there. For people who couldn't actually go.
Yeah.
It'd be as though it was a live event. In fact, we'll put dummies in the chairs.
Well, we'd have to be mic'd up, and there
Yeah.
have to be cameras, and
Yeah,
then
so you just can't
and the
host it
deck.
if it's gonna go.
Yeah, you can see the deck behind you, but oftentimes what they like to do is intersperse within the webinar.
Yeah.
The deck itself, go back
Gotcha.
and forth, and that requires. And again, I don't know if we want to
Oh.
get that fancy.
Yeah.
It'd be great. if
Yeah,
we
I
could
know, I
Figure out
agree.
how to do that easily and then replicate it over time.
Well, I
but,
trust you guys to make the right decision.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Howell.
Yeah. Oh, love you. Okay. All right, last segment.
Nom, take us home.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll talk really slowly.
Okay,
With a
5
deep,
minutes.
sexy voice.
Actually, 4 minutes is what we go. You ready? Ready, go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. No trivia question for this segment, but Nam, give us a deal of the week.
Yeah, deal of the week. We got a call in this week from actually both the realtor and their conventional lender on a scenario where the borrowers made an offer on a house and they were ready to go up until, I mean, they were doing everything on their part to get this purchase done.
Wait, conventional.
Conventional, yeah.
Okay, so
They were
didn't
going to a
need-
bank.
They didn't need specific-
private
Gotcha.
money.
Okay.
Up until a few days ago or earlier this week. Essentially, they were a candidate otherwise for us where they were move up. They were selling a condo in the peninsula and buying a home that was double the price in the Silicon Valley. And they were just going to liquidate a lot of stock that they had to facilitate the purchase. And the bank had everything lined up and said, okay, great. Once you liquidate the stock, then that's a significant portion of down payment. But, this week and part of last week, the market sank so much where I think the market on average lost 30%. This particular borrower lost 40% the
Ooh.
value of their stock. And suddenly it just didn't make economic sense for them to be able to liquidate. So they're talking to us. I mean, they have a lot of equity in their departing residence. Still one we're looking at to see if they'll qualify, but that's going to happen, and that's happening right now where people are in the middle of purchases, and suddenly their down payment may have evaporated if it was in stock, or their job is in jeopardy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to sell when they think it's at the low point.
Right.
I mean, it could go lower, but that's kind of hard to swallow.
So, we may still say no to this borrower if they don't qualify, but we're just seeing more and more scenarios like this come across our desk, and we'll underwrite as we always do carefully for these, and we'll probably have tighter lending guidelines, but we're just going to see more people who aren't able to complete their
Well, it's interesting because Pacific Private Money doesn't necessarily look at the stock portfolio.
Right.
You look at other things. That's just kind of a nice little liquidity feature.
Yeah, and in this case, we would be, in other cases like this, we'd be looking at the equity they have in the home that they're selling. So,
do you expect the values to change in real estate?
We're watching that, certainly. Who knows what's going to happen with, as companies lay people off, and, there's now less demand. That should affect or impact prices. But, we're short-term lenders with respect to these bridge loans, and, we're going to look at the horizon for these bridge loan scenarios in terms of what's going to happen over the next year, what could happen.
And for Mark, for the fund, you've had people redeem for whatever reason. Has there been like a hard time for them to redeem?
I wouldn't call it a rush, but we did get a few extra redemptions this month from prior months. Now, some of them are tax related. And then, in fact, one guy was going to do $100,000 redemption for his taxes, and then he says, "Oh, never mind, because they got a 90-day extension. So you still have to pay your taxes, you have to pay for 90 days. So a 90-day interest-free loan from the government is one you should always take advantage of. In fact, we need to call some of the other ones that have standing redemption orders in place and let them know, are you sure you want this money now, or do you want to earn 8-ish% on it for the next couple of months? So, but yeah, I would say somewhere under $1 million, and again for a $55 million fund, $1 million worth of redemption requests, as long as it's not every month, is not an issue for us, because most of our loans are short term, and we have the ability to as we sell loans out of the fund and or receive payoffs, we line up the redemption requests first and take care of those.
We've actually had more people dollar amount wise invest with us than redeem, and those who are redeeming more than 75% are for tax purposes. So
gotcha. That's not going to happen all the time. So, all right, guys, thanks again. Good show. We're going to cut out, and here's our thoughts for the day. Never be a prisoner of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence. And now this one, I'm trying to understand this one here. The elevator to success is out of order. You'll have to use the stairs, one step at a time. I guess that means be like the turtle, not the tortoise, not the hare.
Yes.
Is that what that's supposed to mean?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long. All right. And we only got to let this thing record for another 8 minutes. Let me save this file here. Who's calling me during the show? Come on, man.
Right, don't you know?
Don't you know?
Standing order. Never call me between 4 and 5 on Thursday.
Exactly. Okay, so that's that. And let's see here. Head files here. Hopefully I've done this correctly. There is.
Greg called me.
Is Mr. Citrino getting nervous, or?
Oh, Citrino?
Yeah.
He had 3 loans ready to close that he was going to sell to Pierce Street, and they're not buying anymore.
Pierce Street's not buying?
Yeah, Pierce Street sent notification out that until further notice, they're not buying loans.
Wow.
So, and that's who he sells to. So, he didn't sound too upset.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. WeTransfer is doing something different now. You have to do a verification code now. Okay, so 7776560. Interesting how that's happening.
Yeah.
Marco sent this to me. Looking at the map for some weekend travel ideas. It's just like it's your house.
The house.
Nice.
I tell you,
All the memes.
some of these things
awesome.
are pretty funny. I gotta say that the sense of humor some people have, and you like the ones from Blackburn and Brown. Those were kind of funny too.
I haven't read any of their memes yet, but I've got. Oh, this guy won't stop calling me. It's like, Dennis, dude, you gotta like wait till I'm done recording.
That. Okay. So now send another. To send another. Yeah. Okay. So now let's
Some
send
of
this.
my Facebook feed posts meme after meme after meme, and they're really good. Let's see if I can find one of the memes.
That. This is Eli for March 21 and promo for March 20.
Last week, employees of the Utah Jazz consumed roughly 20% of the state of Oklahoma's total stock of COVID-19 tests.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's just pathetic that that's the state of the industry, that they don't have. Why can't they just produce like 20 million
I know. They
test
need to
kits?
have everyone.
Well,
And apparently, I heard this on Armstrong and Getty this morning. It said yesterday South Korea tested 20,000 people for the virus, and the U.S. hasn't tested 20,000 people since the beginning of the. So we don't even have 20,000 tests.
it's like this. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, old Dave here said something about Mr. Presidente basically saying something about not like each governor should do it himself or something.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that, but
Go get it yourself is basically what.
is that what he said?
That's nonsense.
I mean, or does that mean that each governor is like, hey, listen, you've got enough in your state, don't let it be a federal issue. I don't know.
Maybe.
Oh,
All right.
All right, gentlemen.
All right. Thank
Let's
you.
hit it. Time to hunker down before the sun goes down and the zombies
say
start.
hooker down.
Hunker down.
Hooker down.
Zombies are starting to wake up.
That's right.
Always a pleasure.
You know, that would make it all worth it if we did have to go like knock out zombies.
I'm like totally prepped. I've watched so much zombie apocalypse.
I know
Oh,
exactly.
Oh, that's
I know
right.
exactly what to do.
That's right. You guys get into that, right? Your jacket? Is that yours?
Maybe.
Just leave it here.
Maybe.
I'll take this one too.
Yeah. Don't touch it.
In fact, I got to go pick up my order at Julie's Hummus. You had that?
No.
They're really good. They're right over here.
Oh, is that just down the street?
It's in the courtyard, and they have really good falafel, and
I walked by and I saw the lady there working hummus. She was like mashing the garbanzo.
I think she's the
with her
owner.
hands.
Yeah, and falafel and stuff.
She was like this.
And then yeah.
Go for
No, she's actually very, very nice. All right, well, so you know what? That Jeff Lerman thing is going to be just on a webinar if you're interested. Remember we were supposed to. Yeah, we were supposed to. Yeah, I think that's what it's doing. Okay, we'll talk tomorrow. Thanks, guys. cut out of here pretty soon. I just need to handle this. So another excellent show. It was nice having Jackie. And I think this is going to do it. So we are going to cut out.